Hey guys, welcome to 5,000 Miles, where we do reactions and reviews. My name's John. I'm over in Philadelphia.
And my name's Vince, and I'm 5,000 miles away on Maui.
And we're just doing a little one-off South Park reaction video here. I was scrolling on the phone last night going through some old Matt and Trey interview type short stuff. And I came across one that really was like, oh man, there's a couple of things about that video that I really like. So I sent it over to you, and you may have come across it in over the years. This is not something that's new. But I just want to take a quick look at it. And if you hadn't seen it before, I've got some questions that I want to specifically ask you as a lunatic South Park fan. Just how this particular little short strikes you.
All right.
So that is what we're going to do.
All right. So I got it pulled up.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at this.
South Park was never fun to do. It's hard work, and what
It's not fun to do.
It's really not fun to do. But what the kids always want to hear, we go on MTV and the kids always want to hear is, yeah, we just get drunk and we get high and we party and we come up with stuff, and it's like that's not
No.
true. We get up really early,
high, and if we got drunk, there would
wouldn't
be
get
no
any-
show.
Right, exactly. There'd be nothing on. But we go, we get a coffee, we show up to work early, and we work super hard and almost ourselves almost every season to try to get it on the air.
We were lucky
the
enough with South
whiteboard.
Park to hit a level of success early on where we have total control over the show. It's something that, I'd rather have the money than not, and the success than not, but it does create a mental kind of game where you have to convince yourself constantly that we're at the bottom, we're still hungry,
Yeah, exactly.
we still want
I
to,
know.
make people mad.
So
So
what's your takeaway from that before I ask you specific questions?
that they're having fun using South Park as a creative outlet, but anybody that's listened to like the mini commentaries over the years or anything like that, or have followed what Matt and Trey have said about the show, that they work exceedingly hard and it puts a immense amount of strain on them.
Right.
On the schedules that they keep and the amount of work and the amount of hands-on that they have with the show. There's a lot of look at Matt Groening. Matt Groening hasn't been involved in like making an actual episode of The Simpsons in 30 years.
But the
you know what I
the
mean?
attention and the commitment and the longevity of Matt and Trey, out of control.
Yeah. It is out of control, and I think it's really interesting too about how they talked about how they have to pretend that they're still at the bottom
I absolutely loved
to
it.
make themselves stay hungry, because also you could like what happens to Tracy Morgan in 30 Rock. He becomes rich and famous and he becomes like a out of touch elitist.
Yeah, Kate saw me
And,
making jokes
it's-
about like caviar and shit, like in the ghetto, and they're like,
Yeah.
"You're losing it, bud."
Did you ever notice how people in St. Bart's be eating their lobster like this?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I definitely don't want to see a South Park episode where Kyle's talking about eating lobster in St. Bart's, Even though Matt and Trey are billionaires now, they still are going to have to keep that mindset.
That's that Eminem, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, never enough. I know I'm great, but fuck that, man. I'm not great enough. I'm going to keep going. My work means too much. I'm committed to it. Man, I love that, when certain people have that. Now, a couple of those people I listed just now I don't even like. But Eminem and Matt and Trey is like, these guys are the best. Everyone fucking knows it, and they just won't quit it. They just won't let up in any way, shape, or form.
Some of the best comedians will talk about how even though they've been doing it for so long, they still get nervous before they go out on stage.
Because it matters to them.
Because it matters to them, and it's like every time a comedian gets on stage or every time you make an episode of South Park, it's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle from week to week. And the fact that Matt and Trey still agonize over every episode, trying to make sure that every episode lives up to their standards, it just shows that it's what's made the show maintain its quality over all this time.
And why it's still soaring so high. All right, my specific questions for you, of which I have 3. The first one is, when you see Matt and Trey and you admire them so much and you have so much emotional investment in their success and their message as we do, would you say that you glean pride from hearing them say stuff like that? that makes you see how hard they work? Does that make you proud to be a fan?
It makes me glad to be a fan.
Yeah.
Because I know that they still have us in mind after all these years.
Yeah, and
That they're still working hard. I mean, like it makes me proud to be a fan to the extent of like still making me feel like I back the right horse.
Yes, like I'm proud of my own choice and I'm proud of their choices. But my choice is so long standing now that I do actually get personal pride out of the way that they conduct themselves.
Yeah, and it's like when I first started watching South Park, everybody was watching South Park, and everybody was talking about South Park, and it was huge. There was a big movie,
Yeah.
It was an Oscar-nominated movie, so it was easy to be like, oh yeah, South Park. But now, I mean, let's say like 2 or 3 years ago, or even 5 years ago, South Park had been way past what would have been considered its prime, especially for having like the attention of the public eye. It's still a major thing, but it wasn't like an everyday household thing where everybody's walking down the street talking about South Park, like
it went into the streaming specials and stuff. So like it was being distributed in a different way that I think all fans were just kind of like, wait, where are we getting our South Park?
It became even less relevant, especially when it was on Paramount Plus now. I mean, we're going from a time where all the episodes of South Park used to be available for free on the internet, where you could just watch them all for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Part of what drove
and now
my love
it's
for
like
it,
you have to
actually.
have Paramount Plus to watch.
And Paramount Plus sucks otherwise. Make no mistake. That's why they broke the bank for South Park. Because it's like, we need
Paramount
a flagship.
Plus, dude, it sucks ass.
Sucks ass.
It was easy to be a South Park fan way back in the day, even up until like season 5, season 10, it's winning Emmys. Season 9, 10, 11, it's like winning Emmys. It's
every episode is so good, man. So everyone.
But then like season 25, or
it
season
did flounder.
like, season like 18, 19, the show had been, I felt like it had lost its way.
A little.
It was still in the wilderness a little bit.
It hadn't jumped the shark or anything, but I totally agree.
Yeah.
It was waning.
Right. And it seemed like it was past its prime. But now that it's back to being on top and it's like making headlines and people are talking about it, the president of the United States is commenting on South Park.
And they're just fighting the fight.
It just makes me proud to have stuck with this franchise for so long and to have been there every step of the way and never given up hope that it was going to continue to be good. And then when you look at videos like that and you see that Matt and Trey have been behind the scenes at all times, every step of the way, just doing their best and never giving up, then it makes me proud of them for sure.
Yeah. And so I wanted to ask you that specifically about pride because I thought it was kind of funny that I felt that way. Second question I have for you is, did you notice at the very end the little smirk that Matt Stone gave when he said, well, we still want to, make people mad.
Exactly. We still want to, make people mad.
That inherent quality that they both possess that came across on that look on his face there, man, so much personal joy has been derived from that desire that shows on his face there to, quote, make people mad. You gotta love that, right? I mean, it was right there.
What's more punk rock than that?
Exactly, man.
And not make people mad in a way where you're not being PC, because they've done that before.
Yeah, just make people mad generally.
They're like, where they've pissed off PC babies. Anybody can do that,
right?
But make people mad to the extent where you're going against societal conventions,
What could be more amazing, man?
You're really putting something on the line, because it's been so long since the makers of South Park have risked anything. Like back when they were doing season 1 and they were making like moms mad and there was like all this like censorship stuff, and there was a real possibility that there could have been enough of an outrage back in the early 90s that it could have pushed South Park away.
And they knew that they were playing that
relegated
game.
back to the
They're like,
right.
If that
exactly.
burns us, we're willing to get burnt here. We're fucking doing what we want to do. If that blows up, lights a too big a fire, then so be it.
Back in the 90s, South Park was extremely subversive.
Yeah, it was mentioned with Eminem again and like Marilyn Manson, like as problematic shit.
Yeah, and like the Simpsons, when the Simpsons first came out in like 89, 90, they were as far as what they were doing seems tame, extremely tame by today's standards. They were pushing the envelope, and they were considered subversive to the point where like kids were getting kicked out of school for wearing Bart Simpson T-shirts to school.
Right, and then Cartman
absurd.
got into that same vein as well, as being that kind of like.
And then like in the even in the first season, we see them responding to their criticisms and the outrage that they faced. But then it seemed like South Park had grandfathered itself into this thing where no matter who got mad at it, all the moms or whatever who were rallying against it, or all the PC stuff, it seemed like South Park had been known as this like offensive entity, so it had kind of like anesthetized itself against any of that like outrage.
Yeah,
because they're like,
the fan
well,
base,
of course of course you're going to get mad at South Park because that's their whole job, is to be offensive and push the envelope
and make you think,
Right, exactly. And that's the reason why they could get away with it, because it was brilliant satire that was disguised as just scatological humor.
And that's what Terrence and Phillip is, actually. That is their original take on what they thought people who didn't understand South Park saw it as. That's what's so brilliant about Terrence and Phillip. Is that's their opinion of like, hey, this is what people who don't get us see.
But now, then you fast forward all these years later, and you have the President of the United States calling for the cancellation of shows and comedians and trying to use the FCC to bully people into being silent. And then South Park comes out and does like a deepfake video of that president naked and making jokes about how tiny his cock is. I mean, they're really putting their necks on the line in a way that they hadn't in a long time, since probably like the Muhammad stuff.
It was like they needed the proper opportunity to make that kind of point. They're not just going to drudge up bullshit. It's like, yo, you see that? We got to go after it. Fuck, man. It's our time. Let's step up. Let's do this.
Right. And I think they said something to the extent of, anytime they see something where it's like, this is what you're not allowed to make fun of, this is what you're not allowed to talk about, that's exactly where they're going to be. And so it was, I mean, I think that they probably didn't think making fun of Trump was going to be specifically funny, because what kind of joke can you make about Trump that hasn't already been made? But the fact that like you can try to say that somebody can't say that or can't make a joke about that, that's what South Park is going to do.
Yeah.
And that's what they've always done.
Okay, cool. So the last question I have for you about it is something a little more just kind of funny, is they're making a comment on success and money, and they're like 30 years old or something like that. When you think about how rich they're like, yeah, of course we want the money and the success, but what comes with that is that we have to try and stay grounded. They didn't have a fucking like 10th or 50th of what they have now. It's so funny for them to already be rich and successful and commenting on their wealth and fame.
Yeah,
and they hadn't even scratched the surface.
To being the multi-millionaires that they were a couple years ago, or even anywhere, even in a space where they could dream about being the billionaires that they are now.
And they managed to stay grounded, even though they got 50 times more wealthy and famous. And they still managed to maintain what they were talking about then. They've stayed the fucking course and weathered that storm all the way through and not broken. And not gotten sucked into any bullshit, and never had any scandals, and never got lost in addiction or bullshit or whatever. They just like stood the fucking. I mean, it's awesome. And that
I mean, that's
little,
what happened to Terrence and Phillip.
yeah, they
You've
got
ever
something
seen Terrence and Phillip behind the
behind
blow?
the blow, man. 46-second clip made me think all that stuff. So I just wanted to like fire it up there and see what you thought of it. And I put it to our audience. What does that short little clip make you think of Matt and Trey and what they've managed to accomplish over all these years? Thought it was a cool little snippet.
It's always fun to look at old videos of them too, having no idea what was going to be coming their way eventually.
Exactly, like how big and amazing.
I bet they never dreamed that they would own Casa Bonita. That's for sure.
Of course not. Just a little bit of South Park speculation there in the off season to just keep the conversation about South Park going. Cool, guys. Let us know what you thought of that. We'll see you guys on the next one.